Hi, my name is Carone, and this is the Artful Mystic X. I am an artist, and I love art, Bible, and science. And so this channel is going to be from an artist's perspective, because clearly I'm not a theologian, I'm not a scientist. But I love thinking about those topics, researching them, and elaborating on them from an artist's perspective. So if you are interested in that and you want topics for me to discuss, then please put them in the comment section below. Please also be respectful. We really all come from the same art studio, and that to me is the divine heavenly art studio. And we've been placed here on this spinning sphere in space, which is funny because a lot of people say they want to go to space. Well, my dear, you are in space. We are spinning incredibly fast in space as well around the sun. So much so that we all are Spider-Men, because we are adhering to this globe when we should be just flying off by how fast we are going. And we're all sane, or at least we seem to be sane. We should be, dizzy and unable to do anything with the speed of which this planet is going. So if you would like to have a topic for me to discuss, please put it below. Please like and subscribe to this channel, because of course that helps me get out there. And I appreciate you, and I thank you for helping me do that, because I know in my past channel it sort of faded because I didn't keep going. Well, that's one reason. And it was I think it was 2019 or 2020 or something. I have to go back and check, but anyway. So thank you for clicking on this vid to hear me. The reason why I wanted to do this video specifically today is to respond to a rabbi. So Rabbi Tovia Singer is very interesting to me, fascinating, intriguing, and I, in my faith, as an artist who believes in God, I am often an observer to both Christianity and Judaism. I've been in synagogues, I've been in churches, I have not been in mosques, but the three of them all have in common is prayer. And interestingly, the third temple, when it is built, because the ancient text, when I say ancient text, I mean the biblical Hebrew Bible, Christian text, says that it will be rebuilt and that it will be a house of prayer for all nations. So I came across Rabbi Tovia Singer on one of my rabbit trail research projects I was doing for God knows what topic. But I came across him and found him very intriguing, because he's a rabbi who is proselytizing for Jewish converts. So very interesting to me, because typically Jews don't proselytize. And there are in his comment sections those Christians or Muslims or atheists who have become Jews, or people who were Jewish and then came back to the faith. So he has quite a following, and I find it something that is worthy to be discussed and addressed. So I'm going to comment on his rather recent video called "Don't Convert to Judaism Unless You Are Ready to Do This," Rabbi Tovia Singer, sorry. So in this video, he is talking about how Jesus is very angry. In fact, he finds Jesus, Yeshua is the Hebrew term, very angry throughout the New Testament and the four Gospels. And now I personally have not seen that in my reading, except maybe once when it seemed like he was, but many people say of the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible that God is actually very angry. And so like father, like son, I guess we could say. Uh, anyway, so reading the text, you actually have to get the context, because it's sort of like when you get a text from somebody. Often you can't tell if they're upset or if they're something is humorous, right? Often we have to get clarification, and because we can't, dial up God, we can't ask Abba Yeshua, what are you meaning by this? What are you saying by this? We have to look at the context. We have to read who the people are in that particular scenario, that story. So this video is concentrating on Matthew chapter 15, verse 26. And this is what he puts on his website. Matthew 15:26, he says, Jesus replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." Okay, well, let's first set up what was happening, because Rabbi Singer doesn't exactly set up the context. So Yeshua, by this point, is already healing people. He's already becoming very renowned, so much so to the point where this Canaanite woman is screaming for him to heal her daughter. Now, she does not have her daughter with her, but she has such belief that he can heal her daughter based on the stories she's heard about Rabbi Yeshua, that she is coming to him, begging him. Now, his disciples, his followers, his students, the males that are surrounding him, they want Yeshua to send her away. They see her as a Canaanite, which we can relate it to the Jew-Palestinian interaction. The Palestinians are from the Canaanite line, and so we know the thoughts of how a Jewish person might see them as obviously not being Jewish, not of the line of David, and seeing them as lower on the religious totem pole of the Jewish belief system. And so Yeshua says, let her come and talk to him. So begrudgingly, the Jewish disciples are saying, okay, you can come over here. And she's literally bowing down to Yeshua, a Jew, a rabbi. Now let's again get that into context, because if we see a Palestinian woman coming to a Jewish rabbi, bowing and kneeling before him today, that's going to raise some eyebrows, right? Well, this also happened back then. And so she is again begging Yeshua to heal her daughter, knowing from what she has heard that he could. Now, he knows how the Jewish people felt about the Canaanites. So he is taking this situation and using it as a teaching moment, as rabbis do. So he says to her, in response to her question, again, it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. Okay, so he is essentially voicing what people are thinking. Okay, his disciples wanted her to be shunned away. They didn't want her to be coming close to the rabbi. And so he's basically throwing shade on his disciples, right? Okay. It can sound obnoxious at first read, but you've got to set him in the context. You've got to look at him and hear him speaking, and the people that are around him at that point, that she is there as well as the only Canaanite. Okay? He also says to her, I have been sent to the Jew, the lost sheep. Okay, so we have another animal. We have a dog and we have a sheep. Now, it's not like sheep. Sheep were known to follow each other off a cliff. So, we can go down a rabbit trail of sheep versus dog if you'd like. But he's making that very clear. And it says also in the ancient text, I am here for the Jew first, then the Gentile. Okay? So she then says, yes, but even the dogs eat the scraps. Okay? The scraps that have been tossed or have fallen off the table. And so she is saying there, I understand, but I still want even a scrap of healing from you. Now, if Yeshua was angry, as Rabbi Singer says, what Canaanite woman in her right mind would even approach someone who she felt anger from? Okay, I don't think she would. I think she felt love. I think she could see, and we can see that when we interact with people. We could see by the look in their eye, if they're giving us the snake eye or the side eye or the eye of love. You can read, that's why it says the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? You can tell when you're interacting with someone if they are hardcore judging you, if they're not trusting you, if they're looking a little askance, if they're angry, if they're turning their eyes away so they aren't looking at you. I mean, the eyes say so much. So she was clearly looking at his eyes. He was clearly looking at her, and she was understanding that he was someone she could approach, someone she could kneel down in front of, someone she could beg for healing from. And then he responds to her when she says that. Okay, he responds to her and he says, your faith has healed your daughter. Your faith, he was saying her faith was so righteous. Her faith was actually more than many of the Jews he was speaking to. She had such faith and belief in him. And he said that in front of everybody. So not only was he allowing her to come to him, not only was he allowing her to share, despite the disciples not wanting her there, despite the culture of the time where the Jews and the Canaanites were in conflict, just like the Jews and Palestinians today. He was addressing her. He was addressing the culture by talking about the dog because that was the feeling. Now, Rabbi Singer, he brings up more of the black-white race issue. He does not bring up the Jewish-Palestinian issue, which is closer to home. So Yeshua says, your daughter is healed. And so it says at that moment she was. So that infers in the text that she goes back, I don't know how long it took her, if it took her, a day to get there or 2 hours or an hour and a half an hour, whatever it was, she clearly went back and, asked when her daughter was healed and realized it was at that time that Yeshua said that. Now, people could say, well, how can that possibly be? How can Yeshua heal and from a distance even? I mean, she wasn't even there. Well, look at miracles. Miracles are another way to identify God's presence. He may not be in physical form, himself, herself, but he clearly is when miracles occur. Okay? So people of all faiths and atheists experience miracles. Even if they're not asking, they are. And so when we look at the Hebrew text of the Old Testament, God is doing miracles showing people he is. Okay? And there's the whole thing, I am. And Yeshua says, I am. And so where there is the miracle, there is the I am. I love you. If you've enjoyed this, again, please like, subscribe, put on your comments what you would like me to discuss, and also please do it respectfully, okay? We need to respect and love each other. We're all from the same heavenly divine art studio of the Magnus Opus God Brain. And we all are here to make our own choices, and we'll be judged on those choices. So even though we're from the divine art studio, we still are held responsible for our choices. God bless.